Hi, good evening. This meeting is now called to order at 5:33 p.m. Madam Secretary, can you please call roll?
Certainly. Commissioner Hugo Alvarado,
Present.
Commissioner Carlos Jose Barrera,
Present.
Commissioner Jason Gavilanes,
Present.
Vice Chair Raul Velasco,
Present.
and Chairperson David Heredia.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Iniguez, can you please lead us in the invocation?
Yes, sir. Please bow your heads in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the privilege of meeting here this evening. We ask for your blessing on the proceeding of this meeting and ask that you give guidance and wisdom to the commissioners in making their decisions. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you. And Commissioner Gavilanes, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Madam Secretary, was the agenda posted according to state law?
It was posted according to law.
Okay, thank you. And this is the time given to the public to speak on agenda and non-agenda items. And were any comments received?
We're waiting for someone to join. Give me 1 second. Let me see. They'll be joining virtually, but I don't see anyone here.
Okay, no problem.
I don't see any. There's no attendees. Okay, no attendees. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I need a motion from a commissioner on approving the minutes of the meeting from May 2nd, 2023.
I'll first the motion.
Okay, and I need a second.
I'll second the motion.
Madam Secretary, sorry, Madam Secretary, can you please take roll call?
Certainly. Commissioner Hugo Alvarado,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlos Jose Barrera,
Yes.
Commissioner Jason Gavilanes,
Yes.
Vice Chair Velasco,
Yes.
and Chair Heredia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to the first item on the agenda, traffic safety analysis. Mr. Iniguez, would you like to give the report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 2 is regarding a request for the installation of a disabled parking space at 6304 Gotham Street. It is staff's recommendation that the Traffic and Safety Commission, by motion, deny the request for a disabled parking space at 6304 Gotham Street based on the reported findings that conditions 3 and 4 of the guidelines for on-street parking for disabled persons in residential areas are not met. I do want to note there was a typo on the agenda in the staff report. 3309 Gotham was listed on those items, and the correct address should be 6304 Gotham Street. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to our city engineer, Binash, to go ahead and provide the agenda report. Doug?
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. Tonight we're here to present, we had a request from Mr. Alexander Sanchez, who lives at 6304 Gotham Street to put a disabled parking space in front of his house. The city of Bell Gardens does have an on-street parking for disabled persons in the residential area policy. And we go through, and there's 4 key points that primarily the intent of the policy is to prevent the proliferation of special parking stalls that may be installed for short-term purposes, but later seldom used. And unjustified installations such as a parking stall designations unnecessarily increases the city's maintenance and operation costs and reduces the availability of on-street parking from the general public and detracts from the overall effectiveness of the disabled persons parking program. Now, for the policy itself, we have to look at four items, and all the following conditions must exist. The applicant must be in possession of a valid valid place for disabled persons or disabled veterans issued by the California Department of Motor Vehicles. The proposed disabled parking space must be in front of the disabled person's place of residence. The applicant must not have any off-street parking space, a garage, carport, or other available alternative to them that may be used for disabled parking. And then fourthly, the applicant must provide a signed statement from a medical doctor that specifies the disabled person has not been able to, even with the aid of crutches, braces, walker, wheelchair, or similar support, to travel more than 50 feet between his home or her home and the other second person. In response to the request, we reviewed the application and the supporting documentation that was submitted. Following the review, there is a one-car garage that does exist on the residence. The applicant noted that the application for disabled parking on the street would be convenient and accessible during emergencies. A copy of the physician office visit report dated March 9th, 2022 was also submitted, along with a copy of his DMV disabled person placard, which expires on June 30th, 2025. And the physician also indicated that he is totally permanently disabled. However, when we review the policy guidelines, he does not meet conditions 3 and 4 of the guidelines. Therefore, staff is recommending denial of the request for on-street disabled parking. I'll answer any questions.
One question here. Can we confirm that this individual can't or is able to get to travel from their vehicle to their house without the aid of a second person?
I think he indicated based on the documentation that we received that he is totally permanently disabled. So he has access, but he's able to get access to a vehicle on property. The cue that looked at it was the fact that he made his request as a convenience. So currently he is using his on-site parking availability to get in and out of his vehicle for that purposes. And that's kind of why that's the facts he presented to us, and we just addressed the facts.
Okay, if there's no further questions, I need a motion from the commission to approve staff's denial for requests for blue curb.
I'll first the motion to go ahead with staff's recommendation.
And I need a second.
I'll go ahead and second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, can you take roll call vote, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Alvarado?
I'd like to abstain.
Thank you. Commissioner Barrera?
Yes.
Commissioner Gavilanes?
Yes.
Vice Chair Velasco?
Yes.
And Mr. Chair Heredia?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. It's a traffic safety analysis. And Mr. Enriquez, would you please give the report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 3 is regarding a request for speed management on Greenwood Avenue south of Gage Avenue. It is staff's recommendation that the Traffic and Safety Commission by motion direct staff to request City Council consideration of the installation of 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs facing northbound and southbound traffic on Greenwood Avenue south of Gage Avenue, and to direct staff to request traffic enforcement from the police department to enforce compliance with the posted stop signs and speed limits. So with that, I want to turn it over to City Engineer Vinash to provide the agenda report.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is from a resident area who lives in the Bell Garden side of Greenwood. The other side of Greenwood, south of Gage, is in the city of Commerce. And it is a short section of street. And it is also wide, so it gives the appearance that you'll be able to drive quickly on it. And he requested to put 25-mile-an-hour speed signs on it. The two things we want to keep in mind when we post speed limits. One is the ability to make sound engineering judgment, or if we want to do radar enforcement on them. If we do radar enforcement on them, then we're bound by the DMV, or I'm sorry, the California Vehicle Code and the manual uniform traffic control devices to establish the speed limit by radar. And we take the 85th percentile, which could even make it 35 or 40 miles an hour on that street, on that section of our roadway. So we don't want to, our recommendation is not to do a speed survey on it, but be in such a short section to help mitigate some of the issues that are occurring out there and give the officers ability to do something. We're going to post a 25 mile, we're recommending to post a 25 miles an hour speed limit signs out there, because the street is less than 500 feet long. So that's our recommendation, to install the signs. I'll answer any questions.
I had a quick question, because I know usually to try to deter high speed on small residential streets, we look at speed bumps, but the resident who brought this up, did they mention anything about speed humps or bumps, or was it just to enforce speed?
Well, we did look at it. The speed humps are typically on streets that are less than 40 feet wide. Curb to curb, this is like 60 feet wide. So it wouldn't be a candidate for speed humps based on our current policy.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion from the commission to approve staff's recommendation to go ahead and install 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs facing northbound and southbound on Greenwood Avenue.
My first motion.
Okay, and I need a second.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. And Madam Secretary, can you take roll call vote, please?
Yes.
Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
Commissioner Gavilanes,
Yes.
Vice Chair Velasco,
Yes.
and Mr. Chair Heredia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is another traffic safety analysis. Mr. Iniguez, can you please give the report?
Definitely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 4 is regarding a request for site distance improvements at the Eastern Avenue and Priory Street intersection. It is staff's recommendation that Traffic and Safety Commission by motion direct staff to request City Council consideration of the following improvements at that intersection. One is the installation of 50 feet of red curb at the northwest corner of the intersection, the installation of 40 feet of red curb at the southeast corner of the intersection, and the installation of 20 feet of red curb at the northeast corner of that intersection. So again, I'll turn it over to City Engineer Benash to provide the agenda report. Doug?
Thank you. We had a request from the Officer Perez from the Bell Gardens Police Department to take a look at this intersection of Eastern Avenue and Prairie. Knowing that Eastern Avenue is a main arterial and Prairie is a local residential street coming out into Eastern. In looking at the site conditions, it is determined that based on site distance allocations, that we recommend the red curb installations as noted per it. It does impact some on-street parking, but the vehicular traffic and site distances outweigh those parking concerns at this intersection. So our recommendation is to install the 50-foot of red curb on the northwest corner of the intersection, 40 feet of red curb on the southeast corner of the intersection, and 20 feet of red curb on the northeast corner of the intersection. And the attachment shows proposed locations. And I'll entertain any questions.
Okay, if there's no questions, then I need a motion from the commission to approve staff's recommendation of installing a red curb along those three sections.
I'll go ahead and first the motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. And Madam Secretary, can you take roll call vote, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Alvarado,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
Commissioner Gavilanes,
Yes.
Vice Chair Velasco,
Yes.
and Mr. Chair Heredia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we are ready for any comments from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to report that it's a pleasure to be on board as your new Director of Public Works for the City of Bell Gardens and also serving this commission. So I'm really looking forward to working with this group and making a lot of things happen in this great city. I also want to report that there have been a couple of meetings held with the Bell Gardens Community Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Training Group. First one being a virtual kickoff. The latest one was actually held on Thursday, June 1st, in which we actually did a site visit, and also we got to walk one of the street segments, and Chair, you joined us for that as well, along with other stakeholders. And we're gearing up to hold the next meeting, potentially at Veterans Park, based on the discussion. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, from everyone from the commission and everyone that comes to our meetings or watches, we'd like to welcome our new director here, Mr. Iniguez. And if we have any other comments from commissioners, now's the time.
I just want to reiterate welcoming you to the team.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, and the only other comment I have here is it looks like for July meeting, it's pushed to August. Is that correct? Okay. All right, so if there's no further comments for tonight, then I'd like to go ahead and adjourn the meeting to the next scheduled meeting, August 1st, 2023. And this meeting is now closed at 5:51 p.m. Thank you.